The year 2009 marked a historic milestone in American coinage because it celebrated the 200th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln Cent itself, which was first introduced in 1909. And for the first time in history, the reverse design of the United States 1 cent coin was changed 4 times in a single year to honor the 4 major stages of Lincoln's life and the 4th and final design titled Presidency in Washington. D.C. represents the culmination of his journey from humble beginnings to the highest office in the nation, and this coin captures the strength, responsibility, and legacy of Lincoln during the most turbulent period in American history when the nation was divided by civil war and tested like never before. The obverse of the coin continues the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln created by Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB appear on the coin, and this portrait has been a symbol of American resilience for over a century. But in 2009, the inscriptions were slightly modified to include the dual date, 1809-2009, marking the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth, while the word liberty appears to the left of Lincoln, and in God We Trust arches above his head with the mint mark positioned to the right, and these elements connect modern collectors with the long tradition of the Lincoln Cent, which remains one of the most recognized coins in the world. The reverse design of the Presidency in Washington, D.C. coin was created by designer Susan Gamble and sculpted by Joseph Mena, and it features the United States Capitol dome under construction, symbolizing the nation in the process of rebuilding and redefining itself during Lincoln's presidency, and the unfinished dome is deeply symbolic. Because during the Civil War, while conflict raged across battlefields, Lincoln insisted that construction of the Capitol continue, as a powerful message that the Union would endure and that democracy would survive, and the inscription United States of America appears boldly above the image, while 1 cent and E pluribus unum are prominently displayed, reinforcing the identity and unity of the nation. This imagery connects directly to Lincoln's presidency from 1861 to 1865, when he led the country through the Civil War, preserved the Union, and issued the Emancipation Proclamation, which reshaped the moral and political landscape of the United States. And by choosing the Capitol dome under construction, the coin quietly tells a story of determination, progress, and faith in the American experiment, even when the future seemed uncertain, and it reminds viewers that Lincoln's leadership was not just about winning a war, but about preserving a vision of liberty and equality that would continue to evolve long after his death. The 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial Cents were struck at multiple facilities of the United States Mint, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, with circulation strikes produced in copper-plated zinc composition similar to modern cents, while special collector versions were struck in a composition of 95% copper, echoing the original bronze alloy used in early 20th century Lincoln cents. And this return to the classic metal composition was a deliberate nod to history, giving collectors a tangible link to the coin's origins. Mintage figures for the Presidency design were substantial because it was released into circulation nationwide, and millions of Americans encountered this coin in everyday transactions. Yet despite its large production numbers, interest among collectors remained strong because it completed the 4-coin narrative of Lincoln's life, beginning with his birth and early childhood in Kentucky, continuing through his formative years in Indiana, his professional life in Illinois, and culminating in his presidency in Washington, D.C., and many collectors sought to assemble complete sets from all mint marks, including satin finish versions, from annual mint sets and brilliant proof versions from San Francisco, which often feature sharper details and mirror-like surfaces. The artistry of the Capitol dome under construction invites closer examination, because scaffolding details, curved architectural lines, and the partially completed iron structure are carefully rendered in miniature. And the symbolism extends beyond architecture, as the rising dome mirrors the rising nation, struggling yet advancing. And historians often note that Lincoln, believed deeply in the symbolism of the Capitol, and by ensuring its completion during wartime, he demonstrated confidence in national unity, and this philosophy is silently embedded in the design of the coin. In the broader historical context, 2009 was also a year of economic challenge as the United States was emerging from the financial crisis, and the release of the Lincoln Bicentennial series offered a reminder of perseverance during hardship, just as Lincoln guided the country through Civil War. Modern America faced its own trials, and the cent became more than small change. It became a pocket-sized tribute to endurance, leadership, and democratic ideals. Collectors often examine varieties such as differences in mint marks, strike quality and preservation grades, with higher-grade examples certified by major grading services commanding premiums, particularly in proof condition. And while the coin remains common in circulated grades, pristine uncirculated examples with strong luster and flawless surfaces are more desirable, and copper composition collector strikes add another layer of interest due to their heavier weight and richer color compared to the standard zinc issues. The Presidency in Washington, D.C. cent also represents the closing chapter of the original reverse era before the introduction in 2010 of the Union Shield reverse design, which permanently replaced the Lincoln Memorial that had appeared from 1959 through 2008, and therefore the 2009 issues stand apart as a special transitional tribute, bridging the classic memorial reverse and the modern shield design, and in that sense, they are both commemorative and transitional pieces within the broader history of American coinage. When viewed as part of the complete 2009 series, this coin carries emotional weight because it portrays not only Lincoln the President, but Lincoln the guardian of unity, and the unfinished Capitol dome stands as a metaphor for a nation always under construction, always striving toward its ideals and never fully complete, and this powerful symbolism combined with its accessible face value ensures that the coin continues to educate, inspire, and connect generations to the legacy of Abraham Lincoln. For a YouTube documentary, you can expand this story by exploring Lincoln's presidential decisions, his cabinet leadership, the military campaigns of the Civil War, the political tensions in Washington, the significance of the Capitol dome, construction project, the coin design process at the United States, mint, interviews with historians, commentary from numismatic experts, analysis of mint production techniques, comparison with earlier Lincoln cent designs and collector market trends, and by weaving together historical, narrative, artistic analysis and modern collector insights, you create not just a coin history, but a sweeping story of leadership resilience and the enduring symbolism carried by a single cent that fits in the palm of the hand yet represents one of the most defining chapters in American history. When we go deeper into the story behind the presidency in Washington, D.C. reverse, we are not simply looking at a coin design, we are looking at a powerful political message frozen in metal. Because during Abraham Lincoln presidency, the United States faced its greatest internal crisis, and yet construction of the Capitol dome continued, even while cannons thundered across battlefields and cities trembled with uncertainty, and this deliberate decision was more than architecture. It was symbolism, meant to show that the Union would not collapse and that democratic government would endure. The Capitol dome itself was redesigned in the 1850s because the original dome was considered too small for the expanded Capitol building, and by the time Lincoln entered office in 1861, the Iron Dome project was underway, yet funding and focus were threatened by the outbreak of the Civil War. Many believed construction should stop, but Lincoln understood the psychological importance of finishing the dome, and he famously insisted that if the people saw the Capitol dome rising, it would symbolize that the Union was rising as well, and that belief is precisely what the 2009 coin captures with the unfinished scaffolding visible above the structure. During Lincoln presidency, Washington, D.C. transformed from a quiet government town into a tense wartime capital filled with soldiers, hospitals, telegraph lines, and political maneuvering, and the presidency coin silently references this atmosphere. because the Capitol dome under construction represents a government actively working through crisis rather than retreating from it. And collectors who study the design closely often notice how the scaffolding details are sharply engraved to emphasize that the nation was literally and figuratively under construction. The release of this coin in 2009 also carried layered historical meaning because it was not only the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth, but it came at a time when the country was reflecting on leadership change and economic recovery, and the four-coin series told a chronological biography in metal, beginning with Lincoln log cabin origins and ending with his role in Washington, D.C., guiding the nation. And this narrative approach was unique in modern United States coinage, because rarely does circulating currency tell such a structured life story within a single year. From a numismatic perspective, the Presidency reverse required careful engraving adjustments to ensure the fine lines of the dome and scaffolding would strike clearly on copper-plated zinc planchets used for circulation coins. And this presented technical challenges because the cent is small and intricate details can easily blur during mass production. Yet the engravers at the United States Mint balanced artistic precision with durability, creating a design that remains readable even after circulation wear. And in higher-grade specimens, the sharpness of the dome ribs and scaffolding lines becomes a key grading factor. The coin also reflects the philosophy Lincoln expressed in his second inaugural address, where he spoke of binding the nation wounds and moving forward with charity for all, and although the speech itself is not written on the coin, the image of the Capitol nearing completion mirrors the idea of rebuilding reconciliation and national healing. And for a documentary, this connection can be explored in depth by pairing visuals of the coin with readings from Lincoln's speeches, creating an emotional bridge between metal and memory. Another deeper layer of history involves the material composition of special collector versions struck in 95% copper, because this was intentionally reminiscent of early 20th century Lincoln cents, and by restoring the classic bronze alloy for limited editions, the Mint linked 2009 collectors with the original 1909 debut of the Lincoln cent, which itself was groundbreaking as it was the first regular United States coin to feature a real historical figure rather than a symbolic representation of liberty. And this continuity reinforces how Lincoln image has remained central to American coinage identity.